Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're plunging into something really foundational, often overlooked even, the core of what makes organizations tick. We're talking about the intricate world of communicating mission and core values.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's surprisingly complex.
Absolutely. And our mission for this deep dive is, well, pretty clear. We're going to unpack what these fundamental terms truly mean.
The real meaning, yeah.
Explore why sharing them is so absolutely crucial. Look at how messages travel, or let's be honest, often get lost.
Oh, they definitely get lost sometimes.
And the essential tools organizations use, plus, maybe most importantly, what happens when, words don't quite align with actions.
And that happens more often than you'd think. This isn't just dry business jargon. It's about an organization's very raison d'etre, its reason for being.
Right.
And the deep-seated principles that guide its every move. Understanding this is, well, it's truly key to grasping how companies operate.
How they tick.
It's exactly how they succeed or fail, and ultimately how they interact with all of us, their stakeholders.
And for this deep dive, we've really distilled the most important insights from a comprehensive stack of sources on business communication, all to give you those aha moments and maybe some surprise facts you've come to expect from us. So let's unpack this then. Before we dive into how organizations communicate, we really need to nail down what they're communicating. So when we talk about an organization's mission, what exactly are we defining here?
That's the perfect starting point. At its heart, a company's mission is its basic purpose. It's the answer to the question, why does this organization even exist?
Okay.
What unique value does it bring? And a mission statement is simply the formal, written declaration of that purpose. Now, some organizations might use a vision statement, but for our purposes today, you can pretty much think of them as serving the same essential role.
Got it. And what are the common elements we'd expect to see in a really strong mission statement? What should it actually tell us?
Typically, a good, robust mission statement will clarify what business the company is actually in, precisely whom it serves, the benefits it delivers, and often it'll hint at its underlying values and ethics. It's a pretty comprehensive snapshot, really.
But here's something really fascinating, a nuance you might not immediately consider. Not every powerful phrase, even one tied to a huge brand, is actually a mission statement.
Right.
Take Nike's Just Do It. I mean, that's an incredibly powerful advertising slogan, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Memorable.
It evokes emotion, it inspires action, but our sources highlight that, under most definitions, it doesn't really qualify as a mission statement. It doesn't define the business, its customers, or its values in that comprehensive way we just discussed.
Exactly. It's more about driving action, not outlining the fundamental purpose.
So it's crucial to understand that distinction then.
Definitely. And, throughout our deep dive today, we'll be looking at the mission and values of some diverse organizations. We've got Tesco, the UK supermarket chain, Intel, the global tech giant, and ACCA, the global body for professional accountants. You'll see how varied their approaches are, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Reflecting their different industries and goals.
So this really begs the question. Why bother? Why go to all this trouble of writing this stuff down and sharing it? Why is communicating mission and core values so important for an organization?
Well, it's crucial for several interconnected reasons, really. It impacts every single stakeholder group. Think about investors first. They need a clear understanding of how the organization actually plans to make profits or, achieve its broader ambitions.
Makes sense. They need the plan.
Then for directors and employees, knowing the organization's core purpose, how it creates value, its competitive strategy, that's fundamental. It guides their day-to-day work, their decisions.
Right, so it's internal direction too.
Absolutely. And customers. They're often looking for what the organization promises them, what experience, what quality, maybe what ethical stance they can expect. And ultimately, every stakeholder wants to know how the organization conducts its operations. What are its guiding principles? What's its moral compass look like? It all builds trust and clarity, or it should.
Our sources give some excellent real-world examples of this. Tesco, for instance. Their mission clearly emphasizes building a long-term relationship with customers, which then guides, pretty much everything from their stock selection to their pricing. They're essentially saying, we live and breathe based on how strong our customer relationships are.
And the real-world impact of that mission was dramatically highlighted back in 2012. Their share price fell significantly.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah. And the CEO at the time publicly admitted they needed to reconnect with customers.
Yeah.
By improving quality, availability, service, and crucially, by investing more in their staff. So that shows the direct link, right, between the stated mission and actual business outcomes.
That's a powerful example.
Or consider Intel. Their core values, they brilliantly juxtapose discipline and risk.
Interesting combination.
It is. And it tells stakeholders a lot about their approach in the high-tech sector. They're saying, look, we're not afraid to innovate, to take calculated risks, but it's always balanced with disciplined market research and rigorous execution. It's sort of how they manage to stay on the cutting edge.
What about ACCA, the accountancy body?
Yeah, they really stand out. Their mission puts a strong emphasis on providing opportunities to diverse populations globally.
Okay.
And there's a clear, unwavering focus on ethics and accountability. This emphasis, it fundamentally shapes their international reach and how they operate worldwide.
So these statements really do guide strategy.
They should. Which brings up an important question for any organization. What happens if there's inconsistency, between the stated mission and values and what actually happens on the ground?
The walk doesn't match the talk.
Exactly. Because mission and core values are meant to be long-term public commitments. If an organization preaches, say, a commitment to a low-carbon footprint to its customers, but inside they're telling employees, don't bother recycling, it's too much hassle. Those inconsistencies, they get exposed quickly.
And it's probably not just about a big public scandal either, is it?
No, not always. It can be that slow, insidious erosion of trust that happens long before any major blow up. It just undermines everything. And it can cause significant, lasting reputational damage.
Okay, so just having a mission and values clearly isn't enough. They have to actually land with people. And this next point offers a really crucial insight. Our sources dig into the Shannon-Weaver model of communication, which helps us understand how messages travel, or maybe more often, how they get lost in translation.
That's right. It's a classic model, but still very relevant. If we apply it to mission and values communication, we can break it down. There are 5 key elements. First, the information source. That's typically the board, top leadership.
Okay, the originators.
Then you have the transmitter. That's where the message gets encoded, meaning they decide exactly what to say, what visuals to use, how to design the whole communication piece.
The crafting stage.
Right. Then the communication channel. That's the medium itself, the internet, a face-to-face meeting, a video, whatever. The receiver then decodes the message. So that could be your web browser displaying a page or you listening to a presentation.
Making sense of it.
And finally, the destination. That's the audience. Employees, customers, shareholders. But here's the real kicker. Noise.
Noise. The spoiler.
Exactly. Noise can interfere with that message at any stage. It's a huge barrier. And this noise isn't just, literal static on a line.
Right.
It can be language difficulties.
Right.
Maybe poor translation or using jargon nobody understands.
Been there.
Information overload is another big one. Just too much stuff. Recipients get overwhelmed. They miss the core points.
Drowning in data.
Sometimes it's a simple failure to even receive the message. Wrong email address, tech glitch, you name it.
The practical stuff.
Then there's the challenge of reluctance to receive it. Maybe employees are resisting a change they don't like. Or status differences management feels remote. They're unwilling to hear bad news filtering up from the front lines.
That sounds familiar in some places.
And of course, just using an inappropriate channel, expecting employees to absorb complex core values from some lengthy, dry text document.
Yeah, not going to happen.
When a dynamic training course or a really compelling video would be far more effective.
And here's a genuinely surprising fact from our sources on this breakdown. Communications can apparently fall apart without management even realizing it.
That's scary, isn't it?
It is. A survey by the Boston Consulting Group found this staggering gap. Get this, around 27% of bosses believe their employees are guided by the company's core principles and values.
Okay, about a quarter.
But only 4% of employees actually agree.
Wow, that's a massive difference.
Huge. And similarly, 41% of bosses said their firm rewards performance based on values, not just financial results.
Right, which sounds good.
But only 14% of employees believed that was actually true.
Oof. Okay, so what's truly fascinating here is what that tells us, isn't it?
Yeah.
It clearly indicates serious communication failures about core values between management and employees. The messages just aren't landing. Or maybe, even more critically, they're not being seen as genuine or true.
Right. The authenticity problem again.
It really suggests a potential deep-seated issue with how values are or aren't integrated into daily operations.
So given all these challenges, the noise, the disconnect, how do organizations actually manage to effectively communicate these vital messages? What's in their communication toolkit to make sure these messages actually stick?
Good question.
Our sources emphasize that while the core messages, they have to be consistent,
Consistency is key.
the methods used will vary, sometimes quite significantly, depending on the stakeholder group they're trying to reach.
Indeed. And organizations today, they have an incredibly wide array of communication methods at their disposal. And these have evolved quite dramatically over time, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
I mean, we started with simple conversations, face-to-face chats, then came advertising, publications like journals, newsletters, mail shots.
The traditional stuff.
Yeah. Alongside formal financial statements, annual general meetings. Then more recently, you see things like company stationery, branded merchandise, presentations, dedicated training courses.
Training's a big one for values, I imagine.
Huge. And the last few decades have brought us press releases, PR activities, formal collaborations, video,
Videos everywhere now.
SMS texting, and of course, the internet explosion. Websites, intranets, email, and all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. Often, the most effective campaigns use a smart mix of these techniques.
Not just one channel.
No, definitely not. They choose based on the target audience, the specific nature of the message, and practical things like budget, time, even environmental impact. Like many companies now email web links for financial statements instead of printing vast copies.
Right, saves paper.
Exactly. And that simple act can subtly reinforce a core value, like sustainability.
That's a neat point. So let's bring this to life then. Can we look at some compelling examples of organizations putting these strategies into practice? I mean, a solid comms plan, generally it involves listing your stakeholders, defining messages for each, picking the right methods,
Allocating resources.
scheduling, and then crucially, monitoring if it actually worked.
Yeah, the follow-up is vital.
So how about social media? How are companies using platforms like, say, Facebook to communicate something as foundational as values? Let's take Tesco again. Our sources say Facebook isn't where they put their formal mission statements.
Yeah, probably not the place for it.
Instead, it's used more for showing values in action.
Oh, demonstrating.
Exactly. The sources mention things like posts about Tesco's great school run or an employee doing a charity parachute jump for the Alzheimer's Society. These aren't big, flashy announcements. They're subtle things appearing in customers' feeds, quietly communicating that community value.
That makes sense. It feels more authentic that way, maybe.
Yeah, less corporate speak. And it seems similar for ACCA. They use Facebook for routine messages, sure, but the sheer global variety of people interacting on their wall, that naturally promotes their global nature and diversity. It reflects those core values without needing a big banner saying, "We value diversity."
Right. It's shown, not just stated.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating contrast, though, when you look at HSBC. Huge global bank.
Right. Yeah.
They make practically no use of Facebook or Twitter, according to the sources.
Really? That's surprising today.
It is. Instead, they rely heavily on their main website for detailed sustainability reports, community information, that sort of thing. It just highlights that there's no single right way. Organizations make very different strategic choices about where and how they engage.
Okay, so different strokes for different folks. What about the power of video?
Video's huge.
The Cooperative Group, that diverse UK mutual organization, they apparently use 60-second TV ads pretty effectively to promote their ethical approach.
Yeah, the co-op, known for that.
Now, a short advert, obviously, it doesn't convey tons of detailed info.
No, not the place for new ones.
But a well-produced film can be incredibly effective at communicating that core identity, those values, often on an emotional level to external stakeholders.
Emotion is key with video, isn't it?
Definitely. And beyond just ads, think about recruitment. Etihad, the airline, apparently they use a recruitment and training video that's just filled with powerful words.
Like what?
Things like challenging the status quo, continual striving, a vision of a more elegant flight experience.
Okay, setting a high bar.
Exactly. It powerfully communicates their mission and values to potential staff and customers right from the first interaction. It shapes expectations.
And we also see ESB, the Irish Electricity Supply Board, effectively using video to communicate its ecological values, showing, not just telling, their commitment.
Showing, not telling, seems like a theme.
It often works best. Public relations, too, often through press releases, plays a critical role with external stakeholders. ACCA Again, they frequently issue press releases on topics like the crucial role accountants play in fighting climate change.
Interesting angle.
Or the ongoing challenge of diversity in the workplace. This showcases their expertise, their commitment to public interest, their collaborations. It reinforces their values through their thought leadership, essentially.
Okay. Using their expertise to signal values.
Right. And look at GlaxoSmithKline, GSK. Their mission is to improve the quality of human life.
Big mission.
Huge. And they use PR to highlight actions that support this, like joining global partnerships to defeat tropical diseases, or inspiring young people into science careers through initiatives linked to big events, like the London 2012 Olympics.
Right. Tangible actions.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, you see how these specific tangible actions reinforce their stated purpose and values far more powerfully than just, words on a web page.
What a deep dive this has been. Wow. We've really seen that communicating an organization's mission and core values to shareholders, employees, customers, it's not just important, it's absolutely critical.
Couldn't agree more. It's foundational.
And it's clearly not just about drafting some nice-sounding statement, is it?
No, that's just the first step, maybe the easiest step.
It's about making sure that message truly lands, resonates, and is actually lived out in every corner of the organization.
And, as those Boston Consulting Group findings starkly showed us, just throwing money at communication doesn't guarantee understanding or action.
Right, you can't just buy belief.
Exactly. Perception, authenticity. That truly matters more than just the expenditure.
And we have one final, powerful, maybe cautionary example to really underscore this point. Consider News Corporation. Their website, prominently outlines their standards of business conduct, their core values.
All the right words, presumably.
All the right words. Commitments to the public, stockholders, employees, the global community. Sounds great. However, here's where it gets really impactful.
Yes. The devastating phone hacking scandal in the UK involving News Corporation newspapers.
Exactly. It led to just immense public outrage.
A huge public inquiry.
Substantial damages paid out to victims.
And just profound, lasting reputational damage. That's the key takeaway.
It really is.
This is such a stark reminder that if an organization's actions just don't align with its stated values, the consequences aren't just severe legally or financially, though they certainly can be. It's that deep, pervasive erosion of trust, both internally and externally, that can fundamentally reshape its future for years, maybe decades.
It's not just about avoiding one big disaster, then.
No, I think it's also about preventing that slow, silent leak of credibility that can happen over time when things don't line up.
So as you, our listener, navigate the world, maybe think about the organizations you interact with every single day. Could be your employer, your favorite coffee shop, the brands you buy, even the news outlets you follow. Do their actions, what you see them do, truly reflect their stated mission and core values?
And what does that alignment, or maybe the lack of it, tell you about their authenticity, about their future?
Something to definitely mull over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of organizational mission and values. We really hope you gained some truly valuable insights.